And the problem here is you're going to run into some weirdness when it gets to your users. Welcome back. I'm Alan. So one thing I want to talk to you about today is testing your app. Testing your app can be one of the most important things that you can do. If you'll remember, or if you've been following me, I have a video in which I talk about how there was one time that I screwed up a release because I didn't properly test my app. And it is very important that we go and test our apps to ensure that our users are going to have the best experience possible, because a good experience for users means that it's going to be good for our clients. The app is going to spread because the users are going to give us good reviews in the Play Store, or they're going to share it with their friends, those types of things. So what about testing am I talking about? I'm not really talking about unit testing at this point, though. I'm actually talking about pulling up the app and playing around with it and taking a good look at it and getting an idea of how it works or how it behaves while a user is using it. So there's lots of other types of testing. There's unit testing, there's automated testing, there's espresso testing, there's integration testing, there's all of that. What I would classify this as is end user testing, or sometimes known as user acceptance testing, UAT, whatever you want to call it. But often what we do when we do this, we use the emulator. How many of you are using the emulator to test your app? It's pretty easy to do this. Pretty easy to fall into quite often, because it's just very easy to just hit that run button and let the emulator pop up and just play with it on our computers. And the problem here is you're going to run into some weirdness when it gets to your users. How many times has this happened where a user has reported a bug and you cannot repeat that bug because it's a device specific bug, or it's an OEM specific bug, or something along those lines? All right. So what am I? What do I suggest here? How do we combat this? Well, we get away from using the emulator to do our testing. That means actually picking up a physical device and putting our app on that physical device and playing around with it and doing everything that we need to do to make sure, hey, the app is behaving like it normally does. I've got 3 devices that I typically use. I have a Samsung Galaxy Note 8, a Google Pixel 2. I don't remember if this is I think this is the normal, not the XL. And then I've got a Alcatel type super low end device to play around with and everything. All right. So why do I have these devices and not others? Or why do I have 3 different devices and such? Well, first off, Samsung. Okay. Like it or not, Samsung is the most favored device out there. It is the number one Android manufacturer. The number one manufacturer of Android devices there is. And one of the crazy things and one of the most annoying things with Samsung is you're going to get what we lovingly call Samsung only bugs, and that means that it's a bug that only occurs on a Samsung device. Now, why is this? Well, it's because Samsung has, they've customized Android to a very large degree, an enormous degree, so that there are little nuances in the way that Android behaves on Samsung devices that it doesn't behave on other devices. And so that leads to some really crazy things. Here's a fun example. There's a famous example where on Samsung, white isn't white. Basically, so the normal white, what we would expect to be white, would be the hex color FFFFF. Go and look that up. That's white. Well, Samsung changed that so that it was an off-white, and that's kind of like that's a really annoying thing for designers, to have your design not be fully white. You don't want that, and so that would be a little weird thing. There are lots of other bugs that I've run into that are very specific to Samsung and have to deal with on Samsung devices. So that's why I would recommend always testing your app out on a Samsung device. Why do I have a Google phone? Well, because Google is, Google's phones are pure vanilla Android. They are the, this is as pure Android as you can get out there. And so it's nice to be able to play around with it on a Google device and see how it works and everything. If it works well on a Google device, then typically what you can expect is that it's going to work well on most other devices. That is not to say, though, if it works, if it works really well on a Samsung device, then it absolutely is going to work amazingly well on every other device out there. But I like having a Google device and testing on a Google device anyway. All right. And then I have this really super low end device. Like, this is the lowest of the low that you could probably get, I think. And the reason I have this is because of performance. I want to test my app on this to see how well it's going to perform on the low end devices. Because if it performs well on a low end device, then imagine how well it's going to perform on a high end device. Pretty cool, right? So I recommend, like I said, getting a Samsung device, a Google device, and then some low-end device. And it doesn't really have to be any of those, or too many of those. You could really just stick with a Samsung device and do really well. But here's the thing. What if you don't have the money to buy all of these devices? I mean, the Samsung devices can be, low-end $400, high-end $1,200, maybe? Let's see, Google devices I think are currently sitting between $300 and $600, and then a low-end device is around $80 to $150, and that's US dollars. That's a lot of money. So we're talking probably close to $2,000 to get 3 test devices just to test out your app. Like, that's not something we want to do. So what can we do? What is available out there for us? Well, one, I highly recommend trying and saving up for one of these devices. Two, there are several options online that we can go to. They're what are called test device farms. They are these services that have a bunch of test devices or a bunch of devices that we can use to test out our app. And they have a wide variety of devices, anything from a Samsung to a Huawei to a Google Pixel to a Nextel device. I don't know. They have pretty much every single device out there imaginable. A great resource for this is the Firebase Test Lab. I have actually seen the server racks for the Firebase Test Lab. They're pretty awesome. They're server racks that have nothing but all of these phones, and they're all plugged in and hooked in, and they're running multiple apps at one time. It's not multiple apps at one time. They're running apps on physical devices for you, all there, like actual physical devices. They're running them for you. It's pretty cool. It's not that expensive of a service to use if you are first starting out. It's not too bad. And then what's awesome about it is you can script your testing. And when you script your testing, with that, you just submit the device, submit your app along with the script to Firebase, and it will run your test script against your app on any number of devices that you select, and then they just charge you by the minute. It's pretty cool. So if you don't want to go and spend a couple $100 on a physical device, but you'd rather spend maybe like $100 on a couple of minutes for your app on Firebase Test Lab, that's great. All right, so instead of just relying completely on the emulator, I highly recommend that you use a physical device to actually go and test out your app and see how it works on a physical device. That will help cut down a lot on some of the bugs that you're going to see. Some of the, well, it works on my device bugs, okay? Thank you very much for watching. If you found this helpful, then please do me a huge favor and share this with somebody that you think it will help. Otherwise, hit that like button. It does help out the channel. Hit the subscribe button and the notification bell to know when I post my next video. I post videos every Tuesday and Thursday. Otherwise, I will see you in the next video.